Let's talk a little bit today about breaking generational patterns by choosing a different path to parenting. Many parents are trying to give their children something they didn't receive, and this can be meaningful and exhausting. You don't have to be the perfect parent to be a thoughtful one. Your history does come with you. Breaking patterns isn't about blame, it's about awareness and choice. Let's first understand what generational patterns are. Patterns can include things like communication styles, so silence or yelling or avoidance or passive aggressive anger. Emotional responses can include shame and criticism and withdrawal. And beliefs can be things like feelings are unsafe, kids should just behave, or children should be seen and not heard. Boys don't cry. All these messages that we heard growing up or your parents heard growing up. These patterns often start as adaptations. They make sense in a different context. What you learned helped you to connect with your parent or to stay safe, but it may not help you parent in the way that you want. What we need to do is notice triggers. We don't just react to our kids, we react to what gets activated in us. So, for example, defiance might make us feel disrespected. Big emotions might make us feel overwhelmed or want to shut down. That is them having something and a reaction happening in us that we are reacting to. A skill to build would be to pause and notice. What am I feeling in my body right now? What story is my mind telling me? Sometimes our activation has to do with how we would have been treated at our child's age. So if your child is 2 or 4, maybe you have an internal memory somewhere about being treated in a certain way you would never have been allowed to jump on the couch. And so to see your child doing it, it starts to evoke things in you, maybe the consequence that happened if you jumped on the couch. So pause, notice, what story is my mind telling me? What is showing up here? Awareness is the first step, but it's not perfection. This isn't the be all end all. It's the space that we get to then choose something different. You can't really control your internal reactions. They happen. They're almost a little, I like to think of them as the inside outside senses. So you hear, you're not going to control if you can hear that, but your hearing is giving you information. What you do with that information is your choice. Emotions are kind of the same thing, but they're the inside hearing. It's telling you something that's going on inside. So if we can activate that pause, we can then understand and ask, how do I want to be in this moment? What would I want to do differently? We can check in with the things that are important to us. Maybe we want to be calm. We didn't experience calm and we want to give that to our kids. Maybe we want to be respectful or present or curious. Maybe all we want to do is be consistent. Those things that are important to us, they can guide the direction. Again, not perfection. We also want to try and build emotional safety. Relationships thrive on emotional attunement, whether it's a partner, adult to adult relationship or adult to child relationship. Emotional attunement is what builds relationship. So with children, if they're having a moment, validate before correcting. I see you're really upset. Stay regulated. Or if you get dysregulated, repair. Shift from a control of your behavior to an understand of their experience. That can be kind of a hard shift, especially when you're managing lots of things and it's not an every time situation. The more you do it, the easier it'll be, and the more you will end up having the experience that you want to have. But again, it's not about perfection and it's not about every time. Safety, remember, isn't just physical, it's also emotional and relational. Relational attunement means, do you get me? Can you understand how I'm feeling? And can I trust you with that? Right? So we want to make sure that we can do what we can to change our script around that so we can show up differently for our kids. Repair is far more powerful than perfection. This goes for children and it goes for partners. You will mess up. That's part of parenting. What matters more is what you do after you mess up. So, an example might be saying to your child, you know, I yelled earlier, and that's not really how I want to talk to you. I'm working on staying calmer. I'm sorry. Right? Gosh, that's powerful stuff. That's powerful repair. It teaches children accountability, it builds trust, and it interrupts a shame-based cycle. Children naturally will think they did something wrong. They're trying to fit into our world, right? Because that's how children are wired. So wrong becomes them most of the time. Okay. So we can interrupt that cycle by us taking accountability. That was me, not you. We also might want to redefine what breaking the cycle looks like. This is not never getting triggered. This is not never repeating old patterns. It is catching it sooner, repairing more often, and acting with intention over time. You don't have to erase any of the past that you have. You're learning how to respond to that past differently. And you're doing it with the intention of not sharing that with your child, creating a different path for them. Breaking breaking generational patterns is quiet, personal, ongoing work, and it matters more than you think. Small, consistent shifts can create a long-term change. Every time you pause and reflect and choose differently, you're already changing the story. Where's one pattern you're trying to shift in your parenting? And how can you pause before you react to then lead with your value this week? Take care of yourselves and each other.